You're an artist, a musician, a painter, and you want to get the most out of your practice? Well, this is how you do it. And it's not what you think. What we're talking about today is quite simple. It's actually the most simple thing in the world. It's just playing stuff that you find easy, playing it a lot, like a lot of repetitions, and then not moving on until you truly understand it, like on a subconscious level. Like you can do it the same way that you can walk. And that's it. So what do I mean by that? Only practicing things that you can actually do with ease and effortlessness. Most of the concepts in this video are based off a book called Effortless Mastery by Kenny Werner. And he definitely writes about this in depth, and that's a book you should go read if you're interested in this. But the concept is that you play stuff that comes easy to you from a state of rest. And then what you're doing is you're not only training yourself to get better at the art that you're in, but you're also training yourself to be able to relax while doing it. Therefore meaning that you'll be able to practice more, and if you can practice more, you'll get better, and if you get better, you'll be able to play gigs and all kinds of stuff. If you practice this way, every bit of material that you work on is going to be developed from a state of ease. So you might be working on something that's quite technical, but if you break it down into something that's easy and eventually build it up to speed, you're going to be one of those people that you might have seen that are playing something ridiculous, but like have the most chill game face. You can be one of those people. It's about the way you practice. You'll also understand the material that you're working on a lot deeper. So if you're a musician, for instance, and you're practicing from this easy place, you'll have a better understanding of like the tone and touch on like a subconscious level, because you'll just react with your ears, not think, oh, I have to play this and then fumble. Before we move on to some practical steps to how you can practice with a lot more ease and more effectively, let's actually just have a look at why we don't, or why we struggle to. And it comes down to basically two things: time and your ego, or your perception of yourself, or the way that you think people perceive you. So let's talk about time first. If we're practicing something, sometimes it's for school or for like a gig that we have to get ready for, and essentially both of those things just dump a lot of material that you have to learn, and you have to learn them and be able to play them really well so that you get a good mark or you get a good review at the gig. That's like a horrible place to be practicing from, because you're actually just rushing through the material. And then if you don't have those external pressures, you have your internal pressure of like, there's so many tunes to learn, there's so many scales I need to be able to, there's so many techniques I have to know, and I have to know how to mix it once I've recorded it. There's so many things that you need to learn right now to be really, really good, or like to be perceived as really, really good. Time and just rushing through material is definitely one of the reasons why you're not taking your time to practice something easy and slow so that you completely understand it. Which actually leads me to my next point, is the ego, or your perception of yourself. So every single experience you have in your life reflects itself in your practice. Schooling, being part of your sports clubs, your home life. Let's use school for example. Like, if you don't look like you're working hard, or someone can't actually physically see you working on your homework or whatever your task is, you get told off and you get told to work harder. Same happens in the workforce actually. Like, if you don't look like you're working, people will say, hey, work harder. So there's this misguided information that if you don't look like you're putting in a lot of effort, you're not putting in enough effort. And that happens in people's practice. You adopt that mindset and you're like, if I don't feel like I'm practicing, then I'm not practicing. So first of all, there's like tension there. We also have this romantic view with effort. If we put in a ton of effort, like strained effort, as opposed to relaxed effort, and we pull it off, there's like a super celebration. And then the other thing is, if we put in all this strained effort and then we fail, we're exhausted, so we feel like we've expended enough energy and that like that failure is justified because we tried so hard. There's this weird thing about strained effort and rested effort. Doing something from a rested space, deeply understanding it and working on it easily, is somewhat less useful than mindless, strenuous practice. There are a couple of reasons why you probably don't practice as restfully and easily as you could. So here's a couple of steps that you can use in your practicing to make your practicing A, more enjoyable, and B, more effective. Okay, so we have what I call step 0, or like the preparation. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about something that you can do easily and restful. So that could be meditating if you meditate, or reading if you're a reader, or like gardening if you're a gardener, or cooking if you're a cook. But the point is that it has to be something that's easy and restful. I'll use me as an example. I was a studying and practice guitarist, and before I learned how to practice from ease, everything I did on the guitar was super strenuous. Even though it was the thing I could do best in my life, every time I played the guitar, I'd hold my breath, I'd tense up, and I'd play. So it was easy, but it was strenuous. So find something that's easy and restful, and just notice how your body feels. Like you might be super relaxed, your breathing might slow down, your posture might be great. Take all this physical and mental information and store it, because we're gonna need it for what's next. Here's the second step. Let's actually do this second step. Guitar! The next step, this is the practical bit. This is the tricky part. What I want you to do, put your instrument down, find that rested, relaxed space, peace even, serenity. And once you're relaxed, pick up your instrument, keep noticing how your body feels. You might have felt tense like picking up your instrument, that's fine. Just don't do that. Just relax again. Don't play anything yet. So now, holding your instrument, if you're tense, you might have to pick up and put your instrument. I know this is ridiculous, but you might have to pick up and put your instrument down a few times so you really feel at rest. Now we're sitting here with our instrument at rest, or it could be your drawing utensil. It could be like a paintbrush or a pen, texter even. But now we're sitting here fully relaxed. I want you to take a deep breath, and then a deep breath. On the release of that deep breath, I want you to play just one note or draw one line. So it's important to not have any feedback on what these notes sound like. So I want you to just relax. Being aware of how your body feels. Your body might tense up. So if your body tenses up, put your guitar down or reset, take a deep breath. So what's super important about this step is you played one note. Basically what you're doing is you're getting an appreciation for the moment with your instrument. Once you have that, then naturally let this exercise evolve. One more thing to think about when you're doing this exercise is to let go of the idea of wanting to sound good or for things to look good. Literally let whatever comes out come out. It might sound great, it might sound horrible. Embrace everything at this point. The point is to be relaxed and at ease. I would definitely think of this step as a warm-up. I think you should put aside anywhere between 1 minute to 5 minutes to just pick up your instrument in a relaxed way and then noodle in a relaxed way to warm up, get a connection with your instrument or your pens and pencils or your software, and to really connect, ground yourself for what's about to come up, which is the practicing part. I think if anything, that's probably the most important step. If you started doing that and then just practicing the way you usually do after that, you'll definitely see improvements. Okay, so that's all great. We've played stuff, but it's all kind of pointless art. It doesn't really mean anything. How do we practice something that's tricky or is gonna make us better? So let's think about a square, a diamond. So on the top we've got ease or effortlessness or relaxation, whatever you want to call it. On one side we've got playing with speed or drawing with speed or whatever it is, efficiency. On the other side we have volume, we have the amount of work. So it could be like the length of a measure in music or finishing a painting. And then on the bottom we have the execution, so playing it perfectly. So here's the secret, you can only have 3 of them. And then, to make it easy for you to pick, you always have to have the easy part, the rested part, the deeply listening or deeply looking part. That means if you're playing something that's fast, if you want to play it fast and a lot of it, you have to sacrifice playing it perfectly, but be totally relaxed. If you want to play it fast and perfectly, you have to shorten the amount of material that you're working on. So, and you keep going over and over with that until it's ingrained. So if you want to go perfectly and the whole thing, sacrifice speed, so play it at a speed that you can actually play the whole thing. And if you want to play perfectly and fast, then you have to play everything's covered. So the beauty of always having ease as part of your, I guess, trio of things to focus on when you're practicing is that whether you're playing fast, and with a few mistakes, you'll understand what it's like to play up the tempo but be relaxed. So that if you're playing something that's like quick, you're not going running out of breath, and then when you have to take that big gasp, your concentration breaks. And then when you're playing something slowly, you can truly work on your tone and the intricacies of how to make the tune or whatever you're working on sound really good. And this obviously works for drawing and other things. If you want to experience painting something, like a whole painting, really quickly, you have to sacrifice the quality. You'll get a feel for what it's like to work quickly if that's something that you want to do as an artist. And then vice versa, if you really want to make something like a whole painting but do it perfectly, to do it with ease, you've got to sacrifice the speed. So then you just paint slowly, relaxing, taking deep breaths, taking breaks, whatever. The main point about practicing this art, using this triangle, this diamond, is to not move on until you can execute the thing perfectly up to speed with complete ease. And then by that point, it's in your subconscious. And if it's in your subconscious, that means that when you're stressed, like on a gig, when there's pressure, it'll just come out. In the same way that being able to run is subconscious, so that if you're under pressure, you can run away from said danger, if that's ever a thing. Or like if you're trying to catch the bus, you don't ever have to go, oh, what's the mechanical way to make my body run? Damn it, I've missed my bus. No, you're like, whoa, the bus! And you run. Here's some quick tips. So smiling when you play, taking a deep breath, maybe not like a forced deep breath, just a deep breath, or focusing on deep breathing while you're practicing. They're two things that definitely help you relax when you're practicing. And the final thing is that if you feel tense while you're practicing, just stop, put the instrument down, go have a tea break. I have to say that it's not an overnight thing. You're not going to practice this once and then tomorrow be amazing. It's going to take a while. It might take a week, it might take 6 months, it might take years. But if you practice this way and you learn how to absorb material like this, the benefits are insane. There's actually nothing better than it, because what you're going to do is you're going to have technique that is on a subconscious level, which means that you don't have to think about it, which means that you can express yourself when you're creating or performing. And who doesn't want that as an artist? Not to mention that you'll have fun while you're practicing. That's the obvious plus that I missed.